USC, LSU, it's finally here. Let's talk about it. So this game has been 20 years in the making, and it felt like for much of the 2000s, there was kind of a Cold War between USC and LSU. And I think in 2007, we were hoping that would be the year that both of them could play. But USC fell short in its season, and we didn't get to see the two teams play. And nothing ever happened since then. So LSU, just looking at the program, I mean, there's a lot to respect about it. The fact that they're before Brian Kelly, their last three head coaches, Saban, Les Miles, Coach O, they've all won national championships. The only other program I think that has ever done that is with three consecutive coaches winning was Miami back in the 80s and into the early 90s. So that's quite the company to be in there. And Brian Kelly, for his part, I would say, he has a chance to potentially do something there as well, especially with Nick Saban retired, and you got Georgia there, but Saban's out of the picture, so that could make it a little bit easier, a little bit more of, I guess, a power vacuum. Looking also at LSU, I think they have one of the best marching bands in college football. Of course, USC number one, but I'll give LSU its props. So they make some good music. And it's interesting when you look at USC and LSU as programs, at least right now, it's interesting how similar they've been. Both coaches in their third year, Brian Kelly, Lincoln Riley, both with something to prove in different ways, but they both have something to prove. Replacing Heisman quarterbacks, replacing other offensive weapons, replacing their defensive coaching staffs. There's just a lot. Now, in terms of which team is in the hole a little bit more, I would say USC or LSU. I would say USC is in a bigger hole right now with a little bit more to have to prove going into this game. I know LSU had its defensive struggles last year, but I guess USC said, hold my beer. And we had an Alex Grinch defense for a lot of it. So USC, has, we as fans really are eager to see improvement in that area. So we won't know it until we see it. I mean, I like the coaching staff that we have, but let's just see it first. Will it be ready in this first week? I don't know. So, and also comparing, look at like Brian Kelly, and just talking about him, for example, he's played against USC before when he was at Notre Dame, and he's had an 8-3 record. So he's not unfamiliar with USC, though the USC teams he knew then, it's not necessarily what he knows, what he may know now. You got Lincoln Riley offense, and you have a brand new defensive coaching staff that I think, at least in terms on paper, looks better than the coaching staffs that they had during the years when Brian Kelly was going up against USC, and the team was most of the time was in a state of turmoil when he was playing them. Brian Kelly coached against USC 3 times, and one when they had interim coaches, and then add into that, the sanctions that USC had. So he was good at kicking USC when they were down. And we'll see if USC is still down or not, at least early on in this season. But what's interesting about, Lincoln Riley and Brian Kelly as coaches and kind of what the expectations are, even though I would say USC is in a bigger hole that they have to climb out of, I would say that Brian Kelly, at least in this first game, has more to lose if he loses this game. Now, we know that Lincoln Riley obviously wants to kind of right the ship and kind of show he still has things, and the defense is improving, and you can beat a team like LSU. That would be great. Now, if USC loses this game, I don't think it's going to be like, okay, that's it, Lincoln Riley, you're gone. Of course, he's going to have to prove himself as we get into Big 12 play, and we can see at least maybe improvement as the season goes on or what. But I feel like with Brian Kelly, the pressure for him is, I saw that LSU has lost their season opener like five times in a row now, or 4 times or whatever. But if he, loses it again, I think just that LSU fans are just not gonna, they're just not going to accept that. And to start off on a losing season and put yourself in a hole that early, they might even be starting to, call for him to be fired or at least get him on the warm or hot seat pretty soon. That's how high of expectations there are at LSU. I mean, even Ed Orgeron, as Cajun as it gets, he wins a national championship for them in 2019, and then within 2 years, he's gone. So LSU, yeah, they will, let's just say, they won't play around when it comes to coaches, even if you are one of the people, I guess you could say. So that's what LSU has. I mean, of course, USC, high expectations as well. We want to see results going into year 3, and it's a little disappointing though that, at least from a defensive standpoint, we're still still trying to figure that out. But anyway, but looking at like, if I were to break down the positions and kind of give my comparisons there, I'll do that right now. With the quarterbacks, you got Miller Moss coming in for USC, and then Nussmeier for LSU. I mean, to me, it feels pretty even. Although, Nussmeier has a little bit technically more experience than Miller Moss does coming into this game. So maybe LSU quarterback gets a slight, a little bit of an edge there. But I would say with USC's quarterback room between Miller Moss and Jaden Maiava collectively, I would say between the whole position group, I would say USC has that advantage there. But when you talk about the offensive line and the tight ends, I would say LSU has a clear advantage there. More proven production, first round potential picks on their line. USC has some talent as well, but the depth just remains a little bit of a question. And, how healthy can this group stay? LSU right now a little bit more proven there. Wide receivers, I'll give USC the edge. Now, give a lot of credit to LSU and their receivers. They're usually some of the best units in college football. But I feel like USC has a really solid, quartet, I guess, between Zach Branch, Deuce Robinson, Mekhi Lemon, Jacoby Lane. We got a little glimpse of what these guys could do against Louisville in the bowl game last year, and I think the 4 of them will do a fantastic job. LSU, I know they got some great receivers, but they're losing a lot of other production there, and so right now I'm giving SC the advantage there. Talking about the running backs, I'd say kind of even. LSU has some returners, but USC got a good transfer in from Mississippi State, Woody Marks, and he's done well against LSU at times. So I'll give him again even at those positions. Now on the defensive side of the ball, I will give LSU the advantage on the defensive line and at their linebackers. I think they have a little bit more proven commodities and talent in their front 7. USC, of course, has Bear Alexander, who's great, but after that, there's a little bit of a drop off, or at least there has been in the past, and so we're just going to wait and see, how well can that position hold up. That's going to be the big challenge. But in the secondary, I say USC has the advantage. I've always felt the secondary has been one of USC's deepest positions for the last couple of years, but mismanagement, bad coaching on defense, bad schemes, all that stuff, I felt like put USC secondary not in a position to show their true capabilities. But I will trust in D'Anton Lynn, the new defensive coordinator, to let's say make things right. Of course, going into week 1, will everything be made right to let's say secure a win against LSU? That's a big question. And for myself, I have my doubts. I want to see USC rebound. I'm critical of the defense, and many people are. Now the question is, are you critical if you're a college football fan, are you critical in a way that you want to see USC get better or Lincoln Riley improve there, or are you critical in a way that you just don't want to see them improve at all, and you just, people just like to criticize for criticism's sake? But like I said, I have my doubts, and they're going to have to prove it. And because I have the questions on that defense, and I feel like in terms of line play where LSU has those advantages, which could then carry itself out a little bit better, let's say in a run game, where I think that's where LSU could do a little bit more of its damage, and maybe, control the clock a little bit more. I'm going to give LSU, unfortunately, if you're a USC fan, the advantage going into this game, and I predict, LSU winning it 38-31. Maybe if this game was played last year, I would have predicted it to be more high scoring, maybe into the 40s or the 50s. But because both teams are replacing their Heisman quarterbacks, and maybe their defenses could each get a little bit better, that it might kind of keep scores into the 30s. So I don't like picking against my own team. I'm a big fan. If I'm wrong, I'll be very thrilled to come on here and say I'm wrong. But the reality is, I've just watched a lot of USC football, and as much as I want to see them kind of get over that hump, or let's say get a win in this kind of game, I have to see it, because like I said, I've been let down at times, so, and like many other fans. Anyway, I'm going to be making more predictions and preview videos as the season goes on, some reaction videos, just like I did last year. You can see the comments below, comment section, or the description of the video where I did where I show you all my previews and predictions from last season. So it's just a lot of fun. If you're interested, follow along. If not, thanks for watching. And as always, fight on.